On air. Hey.
Hey.
Hey, Victor, how's it going?
Good. Working my ass off as usual.
Sorry, we were just taking a couple of minutes setting up, but Victor was just turning on his speakers. I can't hear them today, actually.
Use that joke last week. Yeah.
I know. I use.
Thanks to you now. I was invited to the there's a group of 3 guys. I don't actually know who they are. Simon, I think, is one of them. Some guy named Simon. Some guy named maybe Dean's one of them. I don't know.
This is the old dude. 3 old dudes.
3 old dudes. Yes.
Yeah.
I was a bit. I felt a little bit awkward because I don't actually know them.
Yeah. They know us. They
I don't know how
us on the internet.
What, say again?
They follow us on the internet. They know us. Actually, I know them. They're good guys. I think I've been on their thing before.
Well, I don't know how to react on the show. Like what I can get away with, what I can't. So I always feel a little bit awkward. I was on there for the first time last week. So. You know what I mean? Like, oh, what can I say that's not going to offend anybody since I don't really know them?
Well, since when have you ever tried not to offend everybody?
Oh well, individually, I don't want to offend people on their show. I'm a good house guest. I don't go on to people's shows and tell them that their videos suck, for example.
Yeah. Although you come on to here and you troll the commenters sometimes, but I think it's
well, they're on my show. That's fine.
It's like you're roasting, isn't it? They kind of come here expecting the abuse. It's part of the entertainment, isn't it?
Do you guys expect abuse?
Yeah, they come here for the punishment. I know. Why else would they watch us week after week if they weren't here for the punishment?
Right.
So I tell you, I was just thinking before this thing. We always talk about a news topic, we get someone or whatever, but we get so wrapped up in our conversations, we don't pay enough attention to you, except when, of course, Victor's trolling you.
Yes.
So I thought today we'd just do rapid fire. Also, I know Victor has to jump off early-ish, but let's get back to the grassroots, get back to the basics, to a simple interactive session. So Victor and I are just going to randomly go down the comments thread from the top and just take questions rapid fire as they come down. So I'll read the first question I find and ask you. And if we get your sound back, he's plugging in the USB. Yeah, you're kind of goofy with the headphones. I guess you can hear me. Your sound is kind of gone, which is probably a good thing right now. Yeah, you got no sound, dude. You have to turn on the you probably have to go into the settings in the top and USB. Oh, we've lost Victor. And the ratings go up. Okay, well, I can improvise. He'll be back. He's got the link. So anyway, I want to take the first question. Look, well, no, I'm supposed to ask Victor the question. So okay, well, I'll tell you what. But jam him in. And he's back. So put your comments in the bottom.
Sound is okay.
Yeah. Actually, I'm kind of relieved because I thought we were going to get off to a start with no technical problems, and then everyone would just lose interest in the show because I think that's partly what they come here for. I can hear you. So I think we're good now.
Okay. Well, let me try to answer the first question, which comes from.
Well, I'll ask the question and you answer it, and then you ask the next question. I'll answer it. How about we do that? So first question is from Claude Speed. Is that the one that you've got? I think that's the first one. That's right.
What is he saying?
Claude Speed 30. Question: would either of us consider staying in Hokkaido, or is it too cold for us?
Staying for how long? I probably wouldn't want to move there. But the summer, I rode my motorcycle up there one summer, and it was gorgeous. It's beautiful. It's really cool in the nights. You can wear a leather jacket at night. In the daytime, it's hot.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. In the winter, it's okay. I went there on vacation a couple times, actually twice, and it's really fun if you're there on vacation. I can't imagine wanting to live there and going to work in that atmosphere every day.
Well, but people who live up there, and I know a lot of Japanese people from there. There's some sort of crazy connection with Hokkaido people liking New Zealand and vice versa. It's meant to be a really, really kind of cool place to live. It's kind of frontierland Japan. Yeah. Like there's a lot of very open-minded kind of go get in business type people and so on up there. So I would totally. I've only been there in summer. I totally want to still go and see the Yuki Matsuri in Sapporo, which I've never seen before.
I've been there twice. It's good.
So I'd want to see that, and I've got friends who've been to Niseko, which is basically a small Australian colony on the bottom of the island.
I've heard of that place. How many Australians? What is that like? What's the story behind that? You know?
Apparently, just some Australians started aggregating there and buying land there.
They're all like criminals or what?
Sorry?
They're all criminals?
That's pretty much. It's a small penal colony. But no, but seriously, like now all these foreign investment funds and everything like own half the land there, and so it's like it's a town. Half the town is owned by like foreigners.
So it's like Hawaii in Japanese.
It's like a skiing version of Hawaii, basically, except in an inverse version where instead of Japanese going to Gold Coast, all the Australians go to, and it's for our summer vacation in the Southern Hemisphere. They all spend their summer vacation in Hokkaido snowboarding and skiing. And I've got friends who have been there for like 3 months just living in a backpacker, snowboarding. I've seen all their videos, and it's like awesome powder. But of course, you have that all over Hokkaido.
You're on vacation.
Yeah, but you also get a lot of we have working holiday visas in most Commonwealth countries. I know that Americans don't get them, but for our summer vacation, one of the big things in New Zealand, if you study Japanese, like a lot of my friends did, is spending the summer vacation working on ski fields. Right. So a lot of people go to Niigata or Nagano or go to Hokkaido for our summer. It's the winter in Japan and working through those 3 months.
Do you remember the YouTuber called The Daily English Show? Remember her, the New Zealander?
Yeah, of course.
She's in another country now, but I think she was doing that for a while.
Yeah, I don't know if that's how she. Yeah, I don't know if that's how she started, but that kind of fits the profile. But yeah, exactly. So for going on a proper ski vacation, which I'd love to do, I don't know when I'd get to do that. That'd be cool. Summer Hokkaido is awesome. Yukimatsu is sure, but overall, yes, I'm a complete wuss for the cold. And honestly, like you look at the weather sometimes, and like the high temperature in Sapporo some days this year has been like minus 15. Dude, turn your speakers off.
I was just looking.
Did you do that on purpose? Are you trolling me?
Oh, she just. I just checked the girl we were talking about. She hasn't made a video in 2 years, so I guess she's out.
I guess she's out of the hobby. Well, she had a good run.
Yeah, well, she has 1,400 videos. Still more videos than I do. She did a daily one for forever.
Yeah.
Next question. Let's go. Next question.
So from you pick up the next one. Ask me.
Okay, next one. Well, this is actually, I'm curious, so it's not that interesting a question for most people, I think. Chris himself, 84, says, I wonder why I still have to use a VPN connection to view YouTube streams from Japan. Any idea? That might be interesting from other people who are having the same problem. Any idea about that?
Well, I've had this discussion with some people, and apparently I thought it was something to do with YouTube deliberately blocking live streams in Germany. I guess, I guess because I know they have really strict, hate speech laws and stuff like that there. So I guess it stops us suddenly, saying, I hear that Hitler was a nice guy kind of a comment. But apparently that's not it, because apparently there's other channels on YouTube that the Germans can watch, and for some reason this one they can't, and I don't understand how to fix it, and I really want to, so I'm sorry about that. I don't know what the reason is. But yeah, I think you just have to pretend you're in Saudi Arabia and you can watch us.
Pretend you're in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, you just have to have the VPN.
Something just happened?
Yeah, no, just you. Cool.
Was that noisy?
That was a little bit noisy.
I just realized that the connection I have is pointless.
Oh, you didn't actually connect that mic?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Oh, this is better. Okay.
Yeah, sorry for that sound.
Sorry about that. Okay,
like,
next question.
I was briefly making love to the microphone there for a minute.
Next question.
Yes.
Oh, I got some news. Big news, though. I forgot this. I forgot to. Hiko and I have been talking to Megwin.
Yes.
And Tikio Sam.
Yes.
And Canada Jean and Charla about the Hanami this year.
Yes.
Do you want to go into that?
Actually, to tell the truth, I've been so swamped lately. I'm probably not as up to date as you, except that basically.
Well, we've agreed on the first weekend for April. Pretty much everyone's agreed.
It's going to be first weekend in April, is it?
Yes. The only question is what the events will be, and YouTube has agreed to do a little support. Not much, a little bit.
Providing stickers.
Well, stickers or something, At least they're interesting.
It's a step up. Yeah. I think, of course, the challenge is you never know. You never really know till 1 or 2 weeks out for sure when the flowers are actually going to blossom, and it's one of those things you can never make everyone happy because a lot of people work on Saturdays and a lot of people want to come from out of town. But at the same time, and a lot of people have work plans they want to shuffle around, but you can't, the flowers come out when they come out. You don't want to sit in the park with it's raining and no flowers. Right. So it's always kind of tough because it's kind of geo-specific, but I think the forecasts say it's going to be the last week of March and the first week of April. It is going to be basically Teacher Sam's kind of taking over the torch, but it's going to be the same as it's been every year, basically the same location, probably going to use the same map that Kuni used every year. So it's going to be done basically the same way. But we're going to try to make it as predictable as possible so that people can come and join, and I'm going to lend what moral support I can. I don't know, what else is there?
That's basically it. We just, hopefully there'll be events on both days because people will be coming in from out of town. If we tell everyone ahead of time. I officially took the day off for those days, so I will be coming for sure.
I have an excellent question for you, by the way. So from Stubuya. Stubuya is asking, why do Japanese say that the crossing light is ao when it's clearly midori?
Apparently, I read the answer and I've forgotten it, but it's something about originally the color was actually ao.
It was actually blue.
It was actually blue in the old days, and it became green, but people just kept calling it ao, so it was actually blue. Is that right?
I'm not buying it. I'm calling you out on that one. Right. No, because
I read something. I didn't read the whole thing. I skimmed through an article about that.
Because think about it. When Japanese talk about like a forest full of trees, they don't say midori ga oi. They say ao ga oi.
Ao ga oi. Okay.
You know, when it's clearly green, they describe like ao, which is translated generally as blue. Within Japanese, they use that word blue to describe a lot of natural green things. So I don't know. I mean, I have a theory. I have a random theory.
Something old-fashioned has remained with us. I don't remember which way it went, but yeah. No, I agree with you. That's probably right.
If you want to hear my conspiracy theory on this,
does it have to do with Nazis and Yakuza?
No, Germany. Please don't cut us off. Don't cut us off. Well, it could be. You know, I mean, everything is linked to the Yakuza, but the main theory that, well, apparently Japan, and actually throughout Asia and the Pacific, and will have some of the highest rates of color blindness in the world, and there are different types of color blindness. But I actually wonder if it really originates from a high rate of people not being able to distinguish green and blue, because green-blue color blindness is like one of the most common types of color blindness. I wonder if there's actually an origin of that caused the confusion. I mean, that's just a totally random, probably incorrect theory on my part. Maybe someone can give us a better explanation of that. That's an excellent question, and it used to really annoy me. You say Midori Shingo. If in Japan, by the way, if you're talking to a Japanese person and you say Shingo Midori Natta, they've got no idea what you're talking about.
Midori, what are you talking about?
What are you, crazy? Well, so yeah, it's kind of.
Someone said, my theory is that they borrowed both and decided that the Chinese kanji for blue needs simplification, so they swapped it in and kept it. So you'd have to know Chinese to understand that. So I don't know.
But as well, same thing in America. Kentucky, the bluegrass state, right? I mean, they talk about stuff being kind of so.
But I think that's musical. That's musical.
But that's musical. But that's the name of the state. I mean, like the term bluegrass is it infers a certain deep green type of color. I think that was borrowed from. Is that?
I always thought bluegrass referred to this type of country-style music.
Right. But the word bluegrass, which music was based on, comes from an actual term, bluegrass, which actually predates the musical style. I mean, I think Kentucky was called Bluegrass State before there was bluegrass music. Bluegrass music is actually named after the association with the stuff, isn't it? Although I'm getting far. I think
it's marijuana, something grass. I don't know. Let's go to the next one.
Okay, you asked the next one. We're getting into dangerous. We're getting into drugs and danger with that blue-green question. Let's get out of there.
All right, let's get out of that. Well, we should know that actually. I should know that. I'm surprised I can't remember. But
question.
Here's an interesting question. Where is it?
Take them in order so that we cover them all.
Yeah, I'm trying something. Why can't I find every type of cheese except halloumi?
I don't know what halloumi
is. What is halloumi? I don't know. And that's the same guy, so sorry. Let's skip his question.
Yes, to be. Let's skip that. I don't know.
Here's a good one.
Here's a good one. Yeah. Okay.
Should you ever go for revenge on those who did something bad to you?
This is from Matika Matuduk.
Yes, which sounds like a name that you'd probably want to get revenge on your parents for that name, basically. But what do you think? I'll let you.
This is me. No, in fact, I would run away and go and put the kettle on and try to forget about it. I mean, well, this is a differentiating point between us, right? If you see injustice that needs to be corrected, you're very much a stand up and be a man kind of, and I am a runaway and be a scared little girl. I don't know, revenge. I don't know. What is it? An eye for an eye. The whole world goes blind, right?
You're very adult and mature, and I completely disagree.
No, I'm just a complete wuss. I'm just a complete wuss.
I think you should pray for revenge. You should sacrifice small animals and hope that they will appease the gods. And
revenge is a fantastic motivator, but there again, yeah, you have to be kind of careful. I mean, and it's actually, it reminds me of a crazy news story from when I first came to Japan, like when they still used to have smoking in the train stations.
Oh yeah, I remember those.
Smokers and non-smokers, and there was an incident where a guy was killed. And this is funny. In Japan, you don't really hear about this anywhere else. People get killed in Japan by like single punches to the head sometimes, and I don't know whether it's because people are just weak when they're punched, or whether people learn martial arts so that they know how to.
Or maybe they fall down and hit their heads on something.
And maybe they fall down and they hit their heads. But you hear about these kind of incidents where a guy like gets kicked like once or twice and they die, and you know these things happen. And there was an incident where a guy was kicked, like punched in the head or kicked in the head on a train platform, and when they have the story, and they always have these incredible police accounts of, you know, the guy who we arrested, his statement was, he said that he saw a guy smoking and he got really annoyed.
I remember this.
So he walked out.
This is fairly recent. It wasn't 20 years ago.
It was 15 years. It was after, well, this story which I'm thinking was when I arrived, so it was around the year 2000. But I remember the story was he came up and he kind of shoved the guy or something because he was like angry at the guy. And then when the guy looked at me angrily, I became afraid that he was going to like get revenge on me, that he was going to strike me. So I kicked him in the head once and he died. And this happened like on a train.
Was his son with him? Do you remember the story?
I don't know.
His son was with him. For some reason, I had this well.
But honestly, I mean, you don't really need guns in a society where people just, you know, randomly anticipate the need for self-defense and kick one kick and they're dead. But that happened.
And that's self-defense.
Well, it was self-defense. The guy didn't even do anything. The guy lit a cigarette and he got pushed. And it was like, oh my God, the guy's going to hit me. I better kick him again. And he killed him. That's just crazy. But, you know.
Yeah. Well, I actually, just to seriously address that question, I'm completely, I pray for revenge unless the person actually says they're sorry, and then I completely forgive them. I let go of I have a grudge until they apologize, and then I let go of it completely.
So the key of victory is never apologize, never.
Okay.
I'm gonna ask the next one. So from Ahmed Zombia, my man in Algeria. He's asking, and we'll apply this to Nagoya as well, since we're both getting the big snowfalls, and it's the same thing. How come Tokyo and Nagoya don't have makeshift snow trucks to clear the main streets?
What's a snow truck? Is that like snow plow?
I think those snow plows. You know, snow plows, like those snow clearing trucks. So you know, like in Hokkaido, that like move all the snow away.
Nagoya had one snowfall last year, and the year before that, nothing, and the year before that, nothing. So it's just not worth it. You know, people can suffer. We have salt. We have salt, and people just stand on it until it disappears.
But of course, this has been a major issue, though. And of course, starting with Yamanashi. I mean, so Yamanashi's just been cut off from the entire world, and you know, and it's funny, the government's getting a lot of criticism for this as well. How Abe's kind of playing up that he's one of these, you know, action-taking, tough-talking, civil defense, you know, right-wing guys, and the LDP made a big deal of how much the Democrats kind of screwed up aspects of the 311 thing. But apparently, you know, he was eating tempura, you know, at night while Yamanashi became every single road going in and out of Yamanashi because of snow got blocked off, and they didn't close any of the highways, so all these cars got trapped on the highways. And now that people have abandoned all of those cars, some people are still trapped there after 5 days, still even today.
Jesus.
And
is that the place where the bread mint, the guys are going by, the bread trucks?
Yamazaki bread, where they drop bread.
Yeah. Right.
But apparently the other problem is now after 5 days, people have abandoned their cars on the highway, so the highways are blocked with abandoned cars. So even when they remove the snow, they can't remove the snow completely because there's cars in the way blocking the road.
Wow.
And apparently they need to pass a law to be able to move the cars. They're not allowed to touch the cars.
Really? They're not allowed to touch cars?
That's what the cabinet secretary was saying. So
Japan has too many laws to protect people.
Just crazy stuff. So the point is, you know, up in snowland, you know, they close the roads immediately. They know when they're going to get a big snowfall. They know they need to close the roads, and they have all this equipment ready for it. But truth is, you know, we're not used to that kind of snow, so we all kind of got caught with our pants down. But yeah, and really what's happening in Yamanashi is kind of crazy, you know what I mean? And yeah, just completely unprepared. And for a country which is so used to having so many different types of disasters, they still manage to seem to be able to find new disasters to have.
to not be prepared for.
I think that Japan's probably one of the most disaster innovative countries. I mean, when people talk about, oh my God, there's a Godzilla out the window every time there's a snowstorm, we say it because it's kind of like that. Every time there's something new, you know. They always seem to find some sort of new way to have a disaster. And I don't know, just these snow trucks, they just don't have them, do they? Okay, next question.
Okay, and 7 minutes left. Where did we
Rapid
go?
fire.
Okay, let's see. Stupid question. Does Kalpa still exist?
It does indeed.
Because every Japanese person I meet never knows what it is. Why do you think that?
Oh my god, I love drinking Kalpis. You know, well, I never really got into it myself, but
it's still there. It's everywhere, right?
It's still there. Yeah.
I think it's your pronunciation. You must be saying Kalpis, and it's Karpis.
Yeah,
and
well, that's it.
Japanese
Calpis.
Yeah, but do you know this? I mean, Japanese are if you mispronounce something just a little bit, for some people, it's like completely different. They can't figure it out at all.
Yeah,
it's a completely different word for them. You have to be good with your pronunciation.
Yeah, although, so I think when they actually market it, and they do actually still even sell it abroad in limited numbers, but I've seen and they call it like Calpico or something. Like they don't actually call it Calpis because they've become aware of the image problem with the pronunciation.
Oh really?
I
didn't know they knew about that.
Yeah, apparently.
They still have creep. You know creep, right?
Creep
coffee.
I do not know about creep coffee.
Powdered? No, it's powdered milk that you put in your coffee, and it's called creep. It's very popular, but it's called creep. But it's spelled C-R-E-A-P. But every time I hear it, it's just funny. We have it in the school.
Oh, crap. I mean, you can go, there's also some directions you can go with the C-R-E-A-P, isn't there?
Oh, yeah?
This tastes like crap.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway,
is it my turn? My turn?
I think it's my turn to ask the question.
Your turn.
So, I mean, we have questions about recommendations on Japanese language schools. Well, I guess, I mean, do you know of any recommendable Japanese language schools in Japan?
Yeah, well, there's one in Nagoya. There's one near here called Yamase.
Yamase, is that like a chain?
Yeah, no, I don't think it's a chain. It's just one like big station, but it's pretty reputable. In Tokyo, I don't know, but there's a big YWCA here that has a full-time course, and they help you with visas and stuff. YWCA. So.
YCA. That's kind of
YWCA.
Stumble on the rhythm. Okay.
And there's but that's all I know about the ones in this area.
And truth be told, there are lots of them in Tokyo, especially actually around like the Korean and the Chinese neighborhoods, because they're the ones who really use the schools.
Yes.
But I don't really honestly know a lot about them. I know a lot of the universities. You know, you kind of have to take Japanese courses, and they hook you up with them. And actually, where I used to live in Komaba Todaimai, near one of the Tokyo University campuses, they had a small Japanese school that I actually took a few lessons to prepare for the proficiency exam, which I still failed anyway. So yeah, I don't know, but they exist. So you know, but it's always the Google thing, I guess. But it's good to have some recommendations. Google. It's good to Google. It's good to have some recommendations.
Oh, yeah. Well, Japanese, the YWCA one is a good one, and the Yamase one has good reputation.
YMCA or YCA? I'm sure
YWCA.
YWCA. I just keep it. I mean, honestly, if I could learn Japanese at the YMCA, I would be there. Like,
okay, here's
one. All my boys.
How many Japanese vegans have you met inside of Japan? I am vegan, living here, and would love to meet a J vegan. Okay, so Shai Shoko, I think he's from Nagano, and he's looking for other vegans. I've never met a vegan. I've met vegetarian. My mother-in-law's a vegetarian. She doesn't like meat.
To even explain to a Japanese person what a vegan is, and it's kind of ironic because.
I'm sorry, vegan. When I say vegan, vegan, yes.
Yeah, you're like one of those people who like pronounces words in exotic ways with that. They're vegan. It's like vegan. It sounds like they're from the star system Vega.
Hey, Q Ranger the other day.
It's like a Star Trek character.
He said something at what was it? Oh fuck, I can't remember now. Oh, never mind.
Is that what he said? He doesn't swear very often.
No, he never. But actually, he interviewed me before his show.
Commentary watching Star Trek Voyager, which he says he couldn't get into, so he was watching it, drinking whiskey, and basically just like trashing the show the whole time. That was really fun actually.
Oh, he did one. He did a video like that?
He did a video like that. I was really impressed. It was a new
really? I gotta watch that.
So sorry, this vegan. To even explain to Japan, it's kind of ironic because of course Japanese are not a big meat-eating culture per se, and a lot of Japanese will have 3 meals a day sometimes without a single bit of meat in them. It's possible to do, but they don't understand veganism. There's not really a widespread concept of ethical veganism.
Yes.
You know,
and they'll have milk.
Food.
And they'll have cheese and not think about it.
And a lot of vegan, and a lot of vegetarians actually, who come from abroad and they come to Japan, they realize there's so many vegetable dishes and non-meat dishes. They think that Japan will be a really easy place to be a vegetarian, but it's not because Japanese don't care about using dashi based on meat or anything like that. There's no idea of needing to exclude ingredients. I mean, it's healthy, and they don't use a lot of meat, but they don't discriminate about making sure there's no pork or making sure there's no
they will make French fries with pork oil. They have no problem. Animal oils, animal fat. Yeah.
And all my vegetarian friends kind of end up giving up and exercising compromised versions of veganism. They give up and they eat some fish because they just can't avoid it all the time. And I don't know. In terms of Japanese, I mean, I'm sure they exist, but I can't recall ever having met a real serious Japanese vegan. And the few who I know who even try to be close to vegetarian are people who have lived overseas and they've come back. So I don't know. The concept just doesn't fly here, generally. No. It's interesting.
Like I said, there are vegetarians here, but it's not an ethical thing. It's just like they just don't like meat. There's a couple of them. I've met a couple of those, but it isn't actually a big moral issue.
That's a good one. Saishoku Tengoku, that's a really good question, and it's an interesting discussion. It's kind of I wonder why it hasn't taken off in a way. I'm going to go down. We've only got you for a couple more minutes, actually, or maybe we're almost time up. But let's do one more. I'm going to ask you a question.
One more, sure.
Question from Elson Jacobs. How much would it cost someone visiting Tokyo for food daily? And let's apply this in Nagoya as well.
I wanted to answer that one because I don't know, but I want to guess. I want to see how good I can get at.
Yeah.
I'm thinking. I'm going to lowball it. I'm thinking you could probably find something for an apartment for 60,000. Lowball. I'm thinking. Right. Yeah. Really simple. Really small.
But you're saying for food daily though, not.
Yeah. No. Okay. All right. And then for the food. Let's say you could get by on 1,000 yen a day, I think, with all the bento boxes
for lunch and for dinner. Well, I mean, okay, if you're
because you don't have to eat, you can eat at home, right? And you can, right?
Yeah. Or he's asking, should I attempt to do some cooking? Will Tokyo?
Oh yeah, of course.
Be in Tokyo. So, but the thing is, well, okay, so this.
Oh, this guy's visiting. Oh, I'm sorry.
I can talk to this, however. In my experience, well, it's partly the thing about living on your own and being on your own is that when you cook, the problem is that it's really hard to cook for one person and not end up with the same meal for 4 days. And you don't save that much money. Frankly, when you break it down, and I was buying ingredients here, like vegetables and stuff, are really expensive. And it ends up, you can't actually, if you buy a 500 yen bento every day for 4 days, you can have a different bento every day with different ingredients, and it'll end up costing less than to make the meal yourself. Which is kind of why it's so hard to get into the habit of cooking when you're living on your own in Japan, because convenience stores are so convenient.
Just pick it up and go.
Yeah, exactly. If you have noodles and you have kind of poverty food, you could easily do 1,000 yen a day. But I think realistically,
poverty food.
Especially in Tokyo.
If you're visiting, you don't want a poverty food. You want to enjoy your time if you're over
exactly. You don't want to come here and eat garbage, honestly. You don't want to have cup noodles. You don't want to get buying cup noodles if you're here. Although a lot of people do that, no question.
Yeah.
Common sense dictates. For lunches, I would say you can get by on 500 yen. My camera seems to be up, but that's okay. You can get by on 500 yen. Really, you want to have, I would say, you want a budget, especially if you're traveling and you want to enjoy yourself, you want a budget for 1,500 yen for lunch every day. You want to be able to go to a restaurant some days. You can get by on 500 yen if you have to. And for dinner, again, I would say you expect to pay over 1,000 yen, so I would budget 1,500 yen for any dinner and be ready to pay 3,000, 4,000 if you want to go out drinking and go to a nice izakaya.
Yeah. I think one of the most enjoyable things about living in Japan is the food. And if you're going to come over here to visit, I would save
money on the food.
I would wait a month to save money up just for eating, so you can come over here and really enjoy the cuisine because there's some really good food out here.
Yeah.
Do that. If you got to, don't go to the
yen per day. Honestly, it's worth working and saving money for another 3 or 4 months before you come.
I completely agree. Okay. On that note, I've got to run because I've got to go make some bacon. Make some bacon for me.
I thought you were going to say babies for a minute. I was going to
make some bacon so I can make for the babies that are coming. So, in the future. Okay. Thanks a lot. Hiko, I'll see you guys next week on my channel.
Yes, and little hint. So we are now in the next stage of discussions with Mr. Jake Edelstein. Probably aiming for a week after next. There's going to be an announcement soon.
Yes. But so be sure you're following us on Twitter and
yes.
I'm going to take off. I got to run. See you guys. Bye. Thanks.
I'm going to hang around here for a little bit. So that's right. Now, I thought he'd never leave. So I'm going to refresh the comments. I'm going to take a few more questions, but I am also going to duck out early tonight. That's kind of good. How is this? This is actually because, you know, I realize that we're guilty definitely of not being very interactive lately. I mean, the whole point of the 2.5 Oyajis is that we come on here to have interesting discussions, and I like to do the interactive thing on Sunday one-on-one, but I think that worked really well, actually. We didn't get too sidetracked, and I think there were kind of interesting questions for discussion, so thank you for those. Alston Jacobs, I'm going to ask the next question that I see. Best tasting beer, which actually Victor's a better person for that. I'm not a big beer drinking person. Japan has a lot of very easy to drink beers, and I'm someone who goes more for the Asahi super dry. I know a lot of people who can't stand that sort of thing. If you're into more ales or more kind of dark beers, I mean, Japan's got endless selection of local beers, and of course they import anything, you know, you can imagine from any other part of the world. But, you know, I find actually, you know, the Kirin, Sapporo, and Asahi Super Dry for me, no question, is the easiest beer to drink. But, you know, Kirin, it's all really good quality beer here, actually. You can't really go wrong, honestly. I mean, in Australia, there's bad beer. 4X, the representative beer of Queensland, is like undrinkable to me. VB, they have good beers. You know, there is good beer in Australia. But yeah, you know, they find beer. I've just had a massive update of comments and questions here. So I'm gonna zip down. I'm gonna knock these things out. But probably I'm gonna aim to get off in about 10 minutes. So here we go, rapid fire. I know I also we skipped some questions getting to that point. So I was saying, did we make creative snowmen? I made very uncreative snow people. I prefer to be gender neutral. You know, political correctness nowadays. I'd be worried about being called out for sexism if I made too many snowmen. I try to make snow ladies, but there again, you try to make snow ladies and then people get upset. What can you do? You can never do anything right. It's tough being a man nowadays. And what else we got? Would it be, it's to be asking, would it be cheaper to buy mixed nuts or to buy nuts separately and mix them yourself? Mixed nuts. But remember, you are what you eat, you know, so everything in moderation. We got the Culpus question. Let's come down. Jealous with the vegans question, which was an excellent question. That's a great topic, and that's the sort of thing we were hoping to get Ren around. I don't know when we can get her back on, but I think she can probably talk to that, if I'm not mistaken. But it's tough to be vegan here, honestly. Yes. Best tasting beer, you plan to be drunk 50% of the time. You can do that pretty easily. Alex Saunders, question, aimed more for Victor, so I'll do my best with it. How hard was it being part owner of a bar? It was difficult to set up profitable. That's a great question. In fact, that's a great topic to come back on, because he could do a whole video on that. And he's got some story. As you imagine, owning a bar. I must admit, I can kind of see how YouTube has become kind of Victor's bar in a way, and I can kind of see how I have no doubt that in the days when he was running a bar, how it would have been a little bit like Cheers. And he would have known everything about all the lives of everybody coming in. Well, I don't know. I'd really like to actually know that myself, because I don't know a lot about that. So going down, good question from Alex Saunders. Going down, cracking some skulls. Rodney Dave, question, can dry ice melt and swim in it? Can I melt dry ice and swim in it without getting wet? I don't know. I guess you'd have to live on Titan. I think on Titan they'd have that kind of thing. I would say probably to that question. Thank you for asking. Jigra, do I know of any gaijin over 60 here in Japan? What is it like for folks over 60? Personally, I know a couple. I know a couple who are married. I know the parents of my half-Japanese friends, for example. I know people who have very comfortable kind of retirements. They travel. What tends to happen for the ones who I know who have established lives here, and these are the people who are like living like really in the bubble, the 60-year-olds here. So that's kind of a thing. It's kind of like the people who have been in Japan, Japanese and non-Japanese, who have been in Japan through the bubble, they have this kind of glow around them. Like, honestly, from here on out, you know, Japan's economy could go on the crapper. Everything could go wrong and be terrible from now, but it doesn't matter because they were here during the bubble. It's all good. Yeah, you know, I came here in the middle of a depression. They came here during the middle of the bubble. So they always seem to be pretty good about it. But generally, yeah, there's not a large number of those people, but there are people generally married to Japanese, generally with Japanese kids. Generally have had jobs like, for example, as academics with nice kind of settle-down retirement packages. Like all people about 60, who are reasonably well off. The ones that I see and know, they seem to travel a lot. They seem to have spend a few months a year outside of Japan. They seem to have the ideal kind of lifestyle of being in Hawaii for 3 months and back here, or they go down to New Zealand for the... In fact, a lot of Japanese, rather than traveling to avoid the winter, or people who live in Japan, they travel to avoid the summer here. So the ones that I see, they have, they own houses quite often. They seem to have really good lifestyles. Not that I know a lot of them, and there'll probably be more in future years. But they exist. They exist. There is also no question there's a trend for a lot of people who, when they get to retirement age or post-working age, whatever, they do definitely thin out, and it really is only the sorts of people with kind of tenure-type jobs that tend to really stay all the way to retirement, or that have really, really comfortable kind of lives, their own personal businesses and stuff like that. It's not a large number, but I guess it's going to grow. Yeah, good question. Folks gaijin over 60. Not a big category, but yeah, they exist. Alistair Painter, does Japan often get snow in areas such as Tokyo, where Osaka? The answer to that is no. Typically, you'd only get snow at all in Tokyo once every 2 years. Tokyo's had a pretty consistent pattern in my 15 years here of it being this every second year. But this year we've had a few years worth of snow here, so it's been interesting. And Chilean Kansai is also responding to that. And indeed, we don't typically get so much, and that's why it's been really weird for us, and that's why we don't deal with snow very well here, like other cities further north that are better prepared for it. Jake Knowlton asking a question: do we have what experiences do we have with the JLPT? We've talked about this, but he's going to take the M5 exam in July to be safe. One thing, so I don't know if I think Victor took it a while ago. He's passed level 1. I took it. The exam now was very different. When I took it up to about 10 years ago, there were only 3 levels. 3 was like a really entrance level, and basically kind of Japanese for beginners type exam, and it was just something that people who were getting into the language could learn. Level 2 was knowing about 1,000 kanji and kind of up to primary school level Japanese, which frankly, if you had level 2, that was kind of proof that you could live life, you could live alone in Japan and get by more or less. You'd probably speak Japanese every day and get by, but you'd still need to carry a dictionary with you and figure things out. And level 1 would jump from level 2 to knowing all the kanji and having the same level of Japanese sufficient to enter university, which frankly, most Japanese, it's third level, final year of high school, which even most Japanese don't have that level. I mean, they only study once in their lives to have that level of Japanese getting to university, and then they forget it all. And that's crazy. So the jump between level 3 and 2 and 1 used to be so crazy, and I think the reason they have they increased the number of levels was partly to allow more subtlety in them. In my experience, I took level 2 after living in Japan for a year and working in a Japanese company, and frankly, I sleepwalked my way through that exam. It was a really easy pass, having lived in Japan for a year and being in a lifestyle pattern where I was using Japanese every day. And so I did the same thing. I nonchalantly signed up for level 1 and thought, yeah, let's see what it's like. And I took it first without studying and crashed and burned. And the second year, the second time I tried taking it again, I over-focused on kanji study, which is the real trap of preparing for the level 1 exam. And I was too slow at the reading comprehension. I wasn't good enough at the grammar. And I found from living here that the listening was always very, very easy, because you do get a lot of particularly Asian students who come here and they just cram learn. They go to these preparation schools and they cram learn, and they're great on the kanji and the grammar and even the comprehension. They struggle the most with the listening. If you're living using Japanese everyday thing, the listening for me, I never even had to study for, and I think even on level 1 I almost got 100% on that section, but I always really struggled with the other sections. It was about my 3rd try at level 1, and it was based on taking a view of doing lots of practice exams, which I needed to do because I was struggling with the comprehension, with reading and answering questions about the reading fast enough. And of course, not just kanji, but also doing, remembering grammar points. But basically, practice exams was the key that made studying to prepare for the exam better. And level 1 isn't really anything very connected to day-to-day Japanese. It's like a memorization test, but that's a very meaningful piece of paper. That's a piece of paper which says to anyone who doesn't know otherwise that you can say, I can work the same as a Japanese. Best of luck with your exam, Jack. You know, even level 2 is a demonstration. The old level 2 is the 1,000 kanji. That's a demonstration that you could work in a Japanese company and live day-to-day life. So that's meaningful as well. But, you know, anything, it's always great to have goals, study goals, like to aspire to motivate you to study. And for that purpose alone, I think the exams are meaningful. So, you know, good on you, and best with the exam. Nobody's still asking what happens to Lauren in Nihon. I don't know. Barranger's asking how big are the Winter Olympics in Japan? They are huge. I've tweeted and Facebooked about this. I've got a problem with the Winter Olympics because I feel, frankly, as a self-effacing white person, I kind of feel a lot of white guilt about the fact that most of the sports, you know, bobsledding is not a sport that kids in favelas can get into very easily, or that people on, even in Nordic countries, you know, people on social welfare or whatever. It's a huge investment cost. It's like horse, you know, it's like equestrian jumping. Most people do equestrian jumping own a horse, but not many. What percentage of the population owns a horse? And it's the same with a lot of these winter sports. One, it's kind of elite in terms of economically and geographically, obviously. How many South Americans, how many, you know, Asians, how many Africans, how many developing country people are there? And really, without China, South Korea, and Japan, it would pretty much be the white person's Olympics, which really kind of makes me feel awkward. You know, I mean, I'd like to see I'd like to see soccer move to the Winter Olympics at least, so that you can, you know, so that every country can participate in it like they can with the Summer Olympics. And that's a very superficial assessment. And I know, but honestly, these Nordic biathlon, you know, was it cross-country skiing and shooting and, you know, ski jumping and so on, cool, but who does that? But the answer to that question is Japanese. Japanese, one, they love sports generally, and they love amateur sports. They're very much into the Olympic movement. You know, they are the kind of European wannabes of Asia. That, you know, Japanese have an image of themselves not being Asian, and kind of being closer to Europe, and the Olympic participation is a big part of that. And like any country, Japan, like America, like Britain, like Australia, whatever, they focus on the Olympics purely from the perspective of sports where Japanese are participating with a chance of winning. And for Japan, that is ski jumping, curling, ice skating, and that's about it, frankly. And, you know, the rest, you know, there's half-pipe snowboard and there's stuff like that. But, you know, just like America, just like Canada, they focus on their own people. But, yeah, there's ice skating and speed skating. Japan does pretty well. But it's just focusing on making sure that, you know, on their own home athletes. And it's really big. Japanese love the Olympics. People, you know, they sell whole new ranges of TV sets and stuff off it. So they're a big deal here, although I have trouble personally getting into it. The ice skating is no question is the biggest thing. Narcissist mentioning, you want to go to Hokkaido? Go to Hokkaido. Hokkaido's awesome. Great food, great people, great kind of different culture up there to the rest of Japan, kind of special. Machine 977, have I skydived? No. I'd like to try it one day, but I haven't. Bob Turner asking, who's the most popular Japanese athlete who's competed in Sochi right now? No question, it's Kasai. It's the 41-year-old ski jumping medal winner who's got a fantastic kind of story of overcoming adversity, and of course the ski team that won the bronze as well. The great story with that. The ice skater Hanyu, of course, as well, who got the gold medal. He's a bit of a star, but as well, and he's got a great backstory. He's from Sendai, which was, of course, you know, destroyed by the earthquake and affected by the tsunami years ago, and had trouble training and preparing, you know, because the ice skating rinks where he trained were shut down and destroyed. And he overcame all of that, and coming from that part of Japan that was wiped out, and you know, he mastered the quadruple axel spin and got the gold medal at the Olympics. I mean, that's a fairy tale story as well. Even the New York Times featured that on the front page. But the man of the year, no question, is Kasai, and everyone still is very much watching Asada. I think that the female ice skater, and, you know, she's very popular as well. So we'll see, but definitely Kasai right now is the most popular Japanese Winter Olympics athlete. Skytrot asking, Aomori or Hokkaido for skiing? Honestly, I mean, even Gunma, Nagano, Niigata. I mean, Niigata is famous for deep snow. I don't really know what this. I'm not much of a skier. I surf even during winter. Powder in Japan is world class. Even 1 hour away from Tokyo, you've got world class meter deep powder. You can pretty much go anywhere and you're fine. Seriously, picking and choosing is just personal taste. The other great thing is, honestly, 1 hour from Tokyo, up in the mountains, there's so many people. Sorry, I mean, even for the people who ski, there's so many ski fields and so many mountains that have such great quality snow. In New Zealand and Australia, there aren't many mountains, so even though if you have fewer people, the ski fields are really crowded. But in Japan, they're empty. You can go to Hokkaido anywhere, you can go to Aomori anywhere and have a ski field practically to yourself with deep powder snow. It's heaven if you're into that sort of thing. Yeah, Claude Speed. I was just challenging. That was actually a broadcasting test. Sorry about that. Don't quote me on that. Ryan Cabal, good to see you, man. Hankoku, I'm sure Korea is as cold, or probably no. Actually, I know it gets colder. It gets Hokkaido level cold up there, so stay warm. Yeah, Hanami information coming down. I think I'm almost caught up now. Different people explaining about the color thing. Definitely, Midori Shingo doesn't work. Indeed, it does not. Whoa, we are updating now. Some discussion about the traffic light colors and the theories on that, and definitely Andrew Keeley has a dissertation on color perception, which I'm kind of interested. I'm going to read back on that, but I'm looking for comments right now. Yeah, Emily Louise Maitland talking about the king hitting phenomenon. Yeah, it's not dissimilar to the king hitting thing, sucker punching someone, knocking someone out cold, catching them by surprise. And I know that the media is trying to rebrand it coward punching or something, which is what it is. I mean, it's disgusting, and it's a real problem in New Zealand as well. And I guess, yeah, you combine that. You look at Japanese, and they don't strike you as the kind of people who can king hit. In Australia or New Zealand, you understand sometimes how that can happen with some of the big, drunk, stupid people there. But with Japan, I see the word kancho coming up from Ryan Cabal, and I can imagine a king kancho probably even could do a lot of damage, if it was used by someone with the appropriate martial arts skills. But yes, it happens, and it's terrible. Coming down, we have people talking about Bluegrass. We have people saying hey and hi, Frederick. With Chris himself asking, what do we think of the Cool Japan Fund for selling pop culture overseas? Cool, soft power. Good question about that. That's a really good one as well. I think it's great that the Japanese government is recognizing the popularity of Japanese culture and trying to support it. At the same time, there's a little bit of a problem that part of the coolness of the culture is somehow lost when the government starts promoting it. Some people, I remember seeing a great thread about, people asking, whatever happened to Japanese rap? Why did it die out? And all these new channels were commenting. These two channels were commenting, yeah, I pretty much gave up on Japanese rap when they started teaching it in school assembly. It's kind of that thing. There's a bit of a fragile existence between supporting it and killing it with love. And who decides what's cool? What's worthy of the funding? And is it cool if it's government funded? I think Danny Chu's been involved in that. Yeah, you definitely want to give it enough support to make sure it can get all the recognition it deserves. But I think government should also try to be as invisible as possible about it. This whole debacle recently about the manga exhibition in France, which was kind of hijacked by Korean nationalists to put up manga about the comfort women, and then when Japanese tried to put up information on the Japanese perspective of that, the Japanese manga exhibitors were banned from the exhibition or something. It turned into a nationalist face-off, and this is one reason why politics and and governments and so on getting mixed up in this kind of thing. This is supposed to be a soft power thing, which turns into and both sides. The Koreans were certainly looking to act as Asian provocateurs about this and as a propaganda opportunity. And Korea is a country which has a propaganda ministry, because they're still technically at war. Although they're not supposed to be at war with Japan, but apparently they are. And again, the Japanese government, when you get them involved in the manga exhibition and it's being used to, attack Japan by the Korean government, then they get involved and it just gets kind of crazy. So there's a there's a backfire aspect of that as well. At the end of the day, I mean, if it's to promote manga, the last thing they want is these things kind of being blown up like this. So it's a double-edged sword, but I think it's in principle good that the Japanese government is starting to. They've always just kind of been ignorant of the culture, and I mean, in Tokyo, you think about Harajuku, the dancing rockabilly guys, was a huge tourist attraction that people come to see the bands and the dances and everything in Harajuku. And the local government shut it all down. They thought they were punks and troublemakers, and they didn't even appreciate that. That's what people were coming to Tokyo to see. So it's kind of cool, at least, that they're recognizing that there's some value in that sort of stuff, if you ask me. Bacon, the only known cure for vegetarianism. It's kind of another random out there theory of whatever, but there's something which kind of caught fire again on the Japanese blogs, and I saw it getting sent around somewhere. There's some guy in America somewhere who's got a theory that humans are actually the product of genetic mixing of gorillas and pigs. And I know it's kind of dumb, but if you kind of switch off your brain and you just kind of look at the argument of the similarities of how you can kind of see we have kind of the elements of both. And somehow, if you imagine some crazy alien genetically engineering a new species and decided to use pig and gorilla DNA to make us, it kind of makes sense. And then if you think about all these old ancient, world religions that said don't eat pork, whatever you do, it kind of makes sense on that level. I mean, maybe the aliens made us and they programmed, and they made sure that we all had it whatever you do, don't eat pork. But there again. How could they have had all these rules not to eat pork, and then they invented bacon? It's not natural. It's not supposed to work that way. That's a random thought, but there you go. No, I'm pretty sure that we're not gorilla pig hybrids, but if we are, that does explain the crazy dietary restrictions of all of Judaism and Islam together. And by the way, I met an Omani, guy in full dress, beard and everything, and obviously we talked with him on a flight. I was going to Hong Kong one time. Phuket it was. We had 5 hours, and I actually learned a lot about Islamic banking and life in rural Oman. And he's from a very conservative, very fundamentalist sort of sect. And I was interested, and I was talking with him. How did you get by in Japan on dietary stuff? And I wanted to be very careful about, mentioning my Jewish friends or like that. But when he was talking about the pork thing and the dietary thing, and this kind of ties in with the veganism, I kind of felt okay, well, I've got Orthodox Jewish friends, and I said, I've got Jewish friends, and they've got the same problem as you with the pork, avoiding it. I was kind of surprised. This guy, fundamentalist Islam, Muslim from Oman, from rural Oman, he said, really, Jews don't eat pork? And I've never heard of that. I was like, really? I mean, that's it's kind of, I'm one of these people. I think we need to celebrate similarity more often. The fact that you can't say that Greeks and Turks basically eat the same wonderful food. You have to be sensitive about always pointing out difference. When Korea and Japan have so much in common, and yet they spend so much energy talking about difference. Islam and Judaism, they've got so much in common in that they should celebrate together. Including a completely inappropriate and mistaken ban on bacon. So but respect to the people who follow it. But it's very hard to do in Japan. And the vegans, you're all together. It's a big happy family world. Share some, celebrate similarity and commonality. That's what I say. The snow trucks, the specialized ones, the trucks the snow plowing thing on the front, but no, that's right. Why aren't there more of them? Because there's no need for them, frankly. You'd only use it one day every 700 days. Not worth the investment. They don't have them. They did bring them in, I think, for some of the emergency areas, but it was hard to use. I'm going to wrap up the questions pretty soon and check out that. And it's mostly comments. Did Victor leave? Yes, I'm sorry. Raz Al Ghul, he did leave. He had to go and I think he's got a lesson or something from 11, so he had to check out early tonight. And I'm just wrapping up. My pleasure with the answers. I hope it made you all happy. Warren Kabbalah, apparently in Korea they have a snack called kancho. Well, I would... You know what? That could be the cause of all the aggro between Japan and Korea. They could come over here and ask for kancho. And that would piss them off forever. That would do it. That could be it. So I think maybe, Ryan, maybe based on discovery that in Korea a kancho is actually a tasty snack, that could explain the whole thing, the whole aggro thing. We could just fix that overnight. Carlos, thanks for the good mic. I always try to keep it out of sight and do things, but in the end of the day, my sound was always so crap. Fix it. So here it is. Ahmed points out that you have your own fair share of dumb people. Commonality again. I mean, I think we could just point out to celebrate the equal numbers of equally dumb and ignorant people in all our religions and cultures. I think that's again something that we can use to unify and celebrate humanity. By the way, Raul, good. Thanks for the question about my son. My son is doing awesome now. As you know, 4-year-olds they bounce back, and I'm very glad I didn't catch the bug off him. That's what I was worried about as well. But yeah, no, we're all great. He's awesome, as he is, of course. So yes, I'm going to drop out now, but thank you for joining, and it was nice to do an interactive session. I hope you enjoyed it. We're going to be back same time next week on Victor's channel. We may, depending on the Jake Adelstein situation, come back onto my channel, so keep following on Twitter, stay posted, and we'll come back probably the week after that. I'm going to get him on soon as part of my big plan to try to get some more public, well-known people on the show in future. I hope you enjoyed the show. Great to see you all again. Good to always see you people. Very nice to chat and to be able to interact with you, with Victor tonight. Have a good one, and talk to you again soon. And follow me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, talk with me, ask me questions, do whatever you like. Talk to you all again soon. Have a good one. Peace. And stop.